All right, so today we are doing a deep dive on Becca Chambers.
Oh yeah, Becca Chambers is everywhere right now.
Right, she's kind of blowing up LinkedIn, and she's really making a name for herself in the communication space,
Especially in tech.
especially in tech. Yeah. So we're going to use her own LinkedIn posts as our source material today.
Oh, that's cool. Like straight from the source.
Straight from the source. And hopefully by the end of this deep dive, you will understand
Why she's so awesome.
why she's so awesome. Yeah, like why would a company want her as their head of communications?
Like, what does she bring to the table?
Yeah.
What makes her so unique?
Yeah, so what's the first thing that jumps out at you about Becca?
Well, one thing that I noticed is that she's a huge champion for the field of communications itself.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, she's constantly pushing back against this idea that it's all about, like, making things pretty.
Right, like just fluffy stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And or just doing PR.
Hmm.
And I loved this one post that she had where she called communications professionals the itty-bitty make it pretty committee.
I saw that one too, yeah.
It was so funny.
Yeah, I thought it was hilarious, but also kind of like, yeah, that's true.
It's true. And I think she's making a really good point because companies often undervalue the strategic importance of communications.
Oh, absolutely. It's seen as an afterthought so often.
Yeah, it's not just about like writing press releases or managing social media.
Right.
It's about shaping the narrative.
Yeah.
It's about building relationships with stakeholders.
Exactly.
And ultimately, it's about driving business outcomes.
And that's the thing about Becca. She really gets that.
She does.
She understands the power of communications to like influence perception, build trust, create meaningful connections.
Yeah.
It's definitely a strategic function for her, not just a tactical one.
For sure. And I think that's where her deep understanding of the tech industry really comes in.
Yeah, she's been in tech for 20 years, which is wild
I know.
because she's not a technical person.
Yeah, she's admitted that several times.
She's like, I'm not an engineer. I don't code,
Right.
but I've been in tech for like 2 decades.
Yeah, there's that one post where she talks about this tech executive who felt like an imposter because they weren't a coding whiz.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh my God, I relate to that so hard.
I think a lot of people in tech can probably relate to that too.
Absolutely.
Regardless of their role,
Yeah.
it's this common misconception that you need to be a programmer or an engineer to thrive in tech.
Yeah.
And Becca's career is a testament to the fact that like non-technical roles are not only essential, they can be incredibly impactful.
Totally.
Especially in a field like communications.
Yeah. And it's not like she's just been toiling away in obscurity for 20 years. Like she's been recognized for her work.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
She's been featured in like the Wall Street Journal and Fortune.
Which is huge.
Huge.
Yeah.
So that speaks volumes about her expertise and credibility.
Totally. And, you know, that kind of media visibility is so valuable for any company because it positions her as a thought leader.
Right.
Like someone whose opinions and insights are sought after by the industry.
There's this one story about a Wall Street Journal article on AI,
Yeah.
and Becca is quoted like extensively in it.
Oh, wow.
So it's clear that she's seen as like a go-to expert in that field.
Well, and speaking of AI, the Washington Post called her an AI super user.
I know. Isn't that cool?
That's so awesome.
I saw her LinkedIn post about it. She was like so excited.
Yeah, she was like over the moon.
And I thought it was interesting how she talked about using AI tools to actually enhance her communications work.
Yeah, she was an early adopter, which shows that she's not afraid to embrace new technologies and, you know, find creative applications for them.
Yeah.
That's such a key quality for any leader.
Especially in tech.
Especially in tech, yeah, this rapidly evolving tech landscape, you need to be able to adapt. You need to learn new skills. You need to experiment with new tools to stay ahead of the curve.
Holy.
And Becca clearly embodies that mindset.
Yeah, she's not afraid to jump in and try new things.
Exactly. And it's fascinating how she combines that tech savviness with a deep understanding of human connection.
Yeah, like she's not just all about the bots.
Exactly. And she's also incredibly open about her ADHD.
Yes.
And in her post, she talks about how it's both a challenge and a strength in her life and her career.
I love the way she reframed it as rampant attention abundance disorder.
Oh, yeah, that was brilliant.
Such a good way to put it.
It's much more positive.
Way more positive.
And empowering.
Totally, yeah.
And it speaks to her ability to reframe challenges as opportunities.
Yeah.
Which is a valuable leadership quality.
For sure.
But I think beyond that, her openness about her ADHD is also a powerful statement about neurodiversity in the workplace.
Oh, absolutely.
It's becoming more and more of a topic of conversation.
Yeah, and she's really leading the charge there in a lot of ways.
Yeah, she's not just sharing anecdotes.
Right.
She's actively advocating for a more inclusive and equitable environment for neurodivergent individuals.
She actually helped establish a neurodiversity ERG at her company.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she calls it neuroperspectives,
I love that.
which I think is so clever.
Yeah, it's very clever.
And it's clear that she's passionate about making a difference.
Yeah.
And that passion kind of extends to her leadership style as well.
Totally. Like in her posts, she often talks about the importance of building strong teams,
Right.
fostering collaboration,
Yeah.
creating a culture of psychological safety.
She said she looks for "I'll figure it out" types when she's hiring,
Oh, yeah.
which I love.
That's great.
Like, she values that scrappiness and resilience.
I think that's so refreshing because it challenges that, like, traditional corporate mindset
Yeah, for sure.
that prioritizes conformity and risk aversion.
Look, you got to color inside the lines.
Yeah. Becca's approach is much more agile
Yeah.
and adaptable, which is essential in the fast-paced world of tech.
And she walks the talk.
She does.
Like, in one post, she shared this story about a time early in her tech career
Oh, yeah, I think I saw this one.
where, like, a senior executive told her that having her in meetings was kind of like having a chick in the frat house.
Oh, my God.
Eh.
That's terrible.
And they said it prevented them from having, like, the same conversations they would otherwise have.
Oh, wow. So, like, blatant sexism.
Yeah, it was really bad. But what struck me was how Becca handled it.
Yeah,
Like, she didn't back down or let it derail her career.
right.
She just kept advocating for herself
Good for her.
and her right to be included in those important conversations.
That takes courage and resilience.
Totally.
And it speaks to her commitment to challenging the status quo
Yeah.
and pushing for progress.
It's also worth noting that she's not afraid to be vulnerable
Oh, for sure.
and share her personal experiences even when they're difficult.
Mhm.
Like, in one post, she opened up about her experience with infertility,
Yeah,
which is a very personal
very personal.
and often taboo topic.
Absolutely. And I think that kind of vulnerability is so powerful
Mm,
because it not only helps break down stigma,
for sure.
but it also creates a sense of connection and community.
Right.
And I think that's a key part of what makes Becca such a compelling leader. It's not just about strategy and results. It's
Uh-huh.
about empathy and human connection.
Totally. And she brings that same authenticity to her personal brand on LinkedIn.
Oh, yeah.
Like, she's funny, she's relatable, she doesn't shy away from sharing her personality.
It's a breath of fresh air compared to like the often stiff and corporate tone we see on LinkedIn.
Oh my God. I know.
Right.
It's like everyone's trying to sound like a robot.
Exactly. And she uses humor,
Emojis,
emojis.
personal anecdotes
Yes.
to create a genuine connection with her audience.
And it's clearly working.
Oh, yeah. She has a huge following on LinkedIn,
Massive.
and it's all organic. Like, she didn't have to join any pods to get there.
That's impressive.
It's a testament to the power of being yourself and letting your personality shine through.
And honestly, that's something that any company would benefit from having
yeah.
in their head of communications.
Speaking of which, there was another post where she talked about receiving a package of swag
Yeah.
from her new company and how stupidly excited she was about it.
I loved that post.
It was so relatable.
It was.
Like, who doesn't get excited about new company swag?
Exactly. But I think it was more than just about the swag. It was
Yeah.
about her feeling like she belonged.
Right.
Like she was part of something bigger than herself.
And I think that's something that Becca's really good at creating for others, that
Mhm.
sense of belonging and community.
Yeah, it's a key aspect of building a strong team
Mhm.
and a positive work environment.
For sure.
And it speaks to her ability to connect with people on a personal level,
Right.
which is essential for effective communication.
She also talks a lot about the importance of data-driven communication.
Yes.
Which is something that I think a lot of companies are still struggling with.
It's about moving beyond gut feelings
Yeah.
and vanity metrics.
And actually using data
Yes.
to track results, measure impact, and make informed decisions.
Which ultimately leads to better outcomes.
Exactly, and Becca gets that.
She does.
She's a big believer in using data to demonstrate the ROI
Mhm.
of communications initiatives,
Which is essential.
which is essential for getting buy-in from senior leadership.
Yeah, you got to prove the value.
Totally.
Yeah.
And she also understands the importance of the CCO role.
Oh, yeah, like the chief communications officer.
Yeah, she believes that communications should have a seat at the table
For sure.
when it comes to strategic decision-making.
Absolutely.
And she's not afraid to call out companies
Right.
that undervalue or underfund their communications teams.
Yeah, good for her.
Which I think is important because communications is often seen as a cost center.
Right, like just an expense.
But Becca sees it as a strategic asset
Exactly.
that can drive business growth.
Totally. And she's not just talking about like traditional PR or media relations.
Right.
She sees communications as encompassing everything.
Yeah.
From internal communications to thought leadership to crisis management.
Yeah, the whole gamut.
Yeah, it's all connected.
And she's not afraid to challenge traditional approaches to communications and push back against outdated practices.
Yeah.
She's constantly looking for ways to innovate and improve.
Which is why she's such a strong advocate for strategic communications.
Yeah.
You know, it's about moving beyond just tactics
Right.
and focusing on the bigger picture.
Aligning communications efforts with business goals
Exactly.
and demonstrating the value of communications to
Yeah.
the bottom line. So it's amazing to see how Becca has built such a strong personal brand, especially on LinkedIn.
Yeah, a platform that's not always known for its personal touch, right?
Right. It's not just her professional achievements that come through. It's her personality.
Oh, for sure. She's funny, She's relatable, and she's not afraid to be a little quirky.
She even jokes about her love for emojis.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, you'll have to pry them from my cold, dead millennial hands.
I love it.
I mean, who hasn't felt that way about their favorite emoji?
Nicely.
But it's that kind of authenticity that makes her stand out.
It does.
Like, she's not afraid to be herself, even in a professional setting. And it makes her incredibly approachable.
Yeah, totally. And it's clearly resonating with people.
Oh, yeah.
She recently hit 20,000 followers on LinkedIn.
All organically.
Wow.
She even mentioned she didn't have to join a pod to do it,
That's pretty impressive.
which is rare these days.
Yeah.
But it speaks to the power of genuine connection. Like, she's built a community by being herself, sharing her experiences, and engaging in meaningful conversations.
And it's not just about sharing her own thoughts and ideas.
Right.
She's also an active listener.
Yeah.
She regularly asks questions in her posts, encouraging her followers to share their perspectives and experiences.
Which is so important. You can't just be talking at people all the time.
Exactly. It's a crucial aspect of building a strong personal brand.
Yeah.
It's not just about broadcasting your message. It's about creating a dialogue and fostering a sense of community.
And she's incredibly supportive of her network.
Oh, for sure.
She frequently highlights the accomplishments of her colleagues and friends, celebrating their wins and offering words of encouragement.
That speaks to her generosity and her genuine desire to see others succeed.
Yeah, she's not just trying to climb the ladder and knock everyone else down.
And it reinforces her own brand as a collaborative and supportive leader.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we've seen how Becca is a champion for communications,
Yes.
a strategic thinker, a tech-savvy leader, an advocate for neurodiversity, and someone who embraces authenticity both personally and professionally.
It's an incredibly powerful combination.
It really is.
And it's clear why she'd be such a valuable asset to any tech company.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
She brings a wealth of experience, a deep understanding of the industry, a strategic mindset, a passion for innovation, and a commitment to creating a positive and inclusive work environment.
And let's not forget her ability to connect with people on a human level.
Yeah, for sure.
Whether it's through humor, vulnerability, or simply her willingness to be herself.
It's like she's not just going through the motions.
Yeah.
She's actively shaping the industry and using her platform to advocate for what she believes in.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Becca Chambers, I think the key takeaway is this: authenticity matters.
It really does.
It matters in how we communicate, how we lead, and how we build our personal brands.
And Becca's living proof that you don't have to choose between being successful and being yourself.
You can be both.
You can be both.
In fact, being true to yourself might just be the key to unlocking your full potential.
I love that.
And that's a message worth sharing.
Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive.
Until next time.
Keep exploring,